In
progress.
Okay, hi. I'm sorry, I'm the one that's supposed to be talking. Sorry, Lani.
That's okay.
Golly. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Preparing Your Marketing Strategy. We are the Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center. This is a free webinar. That doesn't mean you don't get a commercial, however. We're a program from Cal Poly Humboldt University. We're funded by the SBA and the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development in California. We offer confidential, no-cost advisory services and generally no-cost training services as well. We're paid for by your tax dollars, so it's always a good idea for you to take advantage of us. There's 63 SBDC regions in the U.S. We happen to be the NorCal SBDC in Northern California, where it's really wet. And there's nearly 1,000 SBDC centers covering every county in the U.S. So if you want to have some free advisory services from a business expert, Google SBDC and your area, and you'll find one near you. And this is the people that are on our team. We're all really pretty, as you can tell. And you also have access to nearly 4 dozen other subject matter experts throughout Northern California, and that's people that have done this stuff before. We've got experts in HR, experts in engineering, experts in finance. So whatever questions you have, we can probably get them answered for you. That's some bragging, which you can look at when you get the slide. And this is a disclaimer. This is what happens when you get lawyers involved. We're required to read this disclaimer to you, so I'm going to read it as fast as I can. But it basically is meant to protect the SBDC and the SBA, and this is what it says. It says the information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informal purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, or other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, Cal Poly Humboldt Sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. So there.
Okay.
All right. And Lani, it's all yours from here on out.
Okay, thank you, David, and welcome everybody. This is the first webinar for me in 2023. So bear with me. I may be a little rusty because you know the holidays and we were all great. And I know we're excited for 2023, just jumping off here, talking about your marketing strategy. And I'm kind of approaching this as fine-tuning your marketing strategy. So we'll be talking a little bit about the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why of a marketing strategy, and diving into different tactics, as well as how do you really put together a targeted marketing strategy or marketing plan. This is me. I'm still including my sidekick, Charlie, because he's still with me. And this is my little bit of a bio. I have my own business, have had it for almost 30 years. I do business advising, community development consulting, nonprofit management, and downtown and economic revitalization. Everything all works together. So I am very excited today to be talking about marketing. So this is kind of the agenda. We're going to be talking about the power of balancing the 7 Ps. And if you've ever taken a marketing class, like in college, or even a webinar, they often will talk about the power of the Ps. And so I thought for this webinar, I was going to bring them back and dust them off and talk a little bit about them. Then we're going to be talking about how to identify your market in your trade area. And then what are some of those tactics or touch points that you should maybe consider when looking at reaching your market? And then how do you put it all together? So it's pretty robust. I'm going to go through this fairly fast. You will get my PowerPoint presentation with the recording. And of course, as a backup, where you can then take your questions and all of your information that you've all maybe rather gathered about your business, whether you're an existing business or a startup, to an advisor, and then they can dig deeper. So the 7 Ps. and make sure everybody can hear me good. What is that? Well, when we talk about marketing, we always talk about who is the market, where are they located, how do we reach them? And the how is how we usually get stuck. And that's all those fun things like a Facebook page or a website or advertising or networking or going and selling at a festival. But it's the why. And why are we doing this? And the 7 Ps kind of encompass that piece. When you're thinking about your marketing strategy, you want to think about the 7 areas to kind of help not only define your marketing tactics, but kind of maybe really dig and think a little bit deeper about who your market is. So the first, and this is kind of showing you the marketing mix, and in an infographic that I pulled down, and includes, thinking about your products and services when you're putting together your marketing plan. The place, where are people going to find your marketing, your products or your services? How are you going to promote it? That's the fun part. What's your price points? Because the price points will also determine where you might want to place some of your marketing tactics. The process of taking it from, your products and services from thinking about when it's produced to the market, physical evidence, and then your people. So these all work together to really define and develop a targeted strategy that's going to really generate revenue, sell your products and services. That's what we're about for-profit businesses, is making a profit, right? So let's start first about the products and services. And this is pretty self-explanatory. Product refers to what you are selling or the service you're delivering. It includes all of the features, advantages, and benefits that your customers can enjoy for buying your products or services. And you want to think about aligning the right type of product with the demand for your market. So when I'm talking to my clients and we're talking about, their products and services, like, tell me what they are. And we often get into the features, and features are what your product or service does, but people buy the benefits. What you're really trying to promote are the benefits, or how it's going to benefit your individual customer life or their business if you're doing business to business. So what does your customer want from your products and services? These are questions that you maybe want to kind of take a minute and think about your customers and think about your products, and then kind of maybe, brainstorm with your team and answer them. What needs do your products and services satisfy? And as we're going through these questions, often what will come up will be some of your taglines or your messaging that you're going to want to pull into maybe some of your advertising or onto your website, or in some of your messaging when you're doing direct sales. So the benefits or the needs are what people are really gravitating and purchase your products and services for. How and where would your customer use your products and services? Will they be using them like a roof repair, unfortunately, after a huge rainstorm? Or do they want to need a new roof because they're building a home? So, if you're a roofer, you have to look at your services maybe through 2 different lenses. And then what are the features of your specific products that you provide in those 2 areas? And then how is your products and services different from those of your competitors? And when we're putting together a business plan, and your marketing plan is nested in your business plan, we do often suggest you do a matrix, and you list yourself, and then you list 2 or 3 of your competitors. And one of the areas that we put in there is products and services. So you list what your competitors have for products and services, and then you list what you offer. And this helps you kind of find your niche. And then taking it to the marketing piece is then how do we message that so that it resonates with our specific market? Place. In the marketing mix, the process of moving products from the producer to the intended user is called place. So you want to think about, where are you placing? Are you going to be selling wholesale? Are you a franchise? Are you going to be direct selling either through your storefront, physical storefront, through an e-commerce site, through vending or exhibiting at different trade shows or festivals, or even through third-party sites like a third-party marketplace like Amazon or Etsy or eBay? And you may do all of the above, especially if you're a product-driven business. You may have products that you sell wholesale to other retailers. You may sell right out of a physical storefront. You may have created an e-commerce site during the pandemic. You may go and vend at a local fair, and you may also have, a Etsy site where you're selling other items. So it isn't just one place, but you kind of want to remember and think about, how am I getting my products and services into the marketplace? So if you're a service-based business and you have a fleet, or you have trucks that go out and meet the customer at their place of business or their home, then you're going to want to be saying you're doing direct. And then part of your marketing strategy is thinking, how are you branding that truck, that employee, your messaging? How are you letting people know that you do, delivery, or you'll meet them on site? So it, again, place is part of one of the 7 Ps. Promotion. Okay, this one is like, we're going to talk a lot about that in the middle of this presentation, but where and when can you get your marketing messages across to your market? Where are they living online? Where are they, what social media platforms do they use on a daily basis? Who is traveling to a trade show? Are they coming there? Are they business to business and you're selling business to business? Which shows do they go to? Which sales strategies would you want to then incorporate? When is the best time to promote your business? Especially if you're in a lot of like our rural areas in California, or anywhere really across the United States, you may have seasonalities. Like today I am in my Phoenix office, and our season is now. We're just starting to go into our, event season. But if you're like in Sierras or Mammoth or in the mountains, once the snow stops falling so much, you will be then in your winter season, which may be one of your prime seasons, because that's, you're selling, items that are related to this winter season. So when is the best time to promote? Do you want to promote during your season? Do you want to promote on the shoulder seasons? You want to promote afterwards? So again, you're going to want to think about that, really important. And then what promotional activities will set your business products and services apart from your competitors? And again, in that competition matrix, you lay out and think about how your competitor is promoting and marketing their products and services. And it's not that we want to look at it as competing, but we want to see who's setting the bar in your industry. Who is really the competitor that you've got to either compete nose to nose with, or you've got to be above them, or below them a little bit if you're going to do price points. So you kind of want to like be aware of what they're doing and how they're doing their promotions. In my presentations, I try to pull down images or examples of businesses that are within our territory. And today for the Shasta-Cascade SBDC, we service Shasta and Trinity counties. So I've been trying to pull down different businesses from those regions so you can see examples. And this is a little shop up in Weaverville, California, and they have a very robust Facebook page. They do Instagram. They have a storefront. They don't do online sales yet, because they're really catering to mostly folks that are in the region or traveling through the region. But this is their example of their how they're promoting their business, right? Then price. And when you're putting together your business plan, and this is the one that our financial advisor, Joe Della loves to talk about is price, because price is really important. You always need to be looking at the prices of your products and services you're selling to make sure they're still appropriate to the realities of the current market. And, you know, it's such a touchy thing because especially if you're a service-based business, you may not just have a pull down like what's the going rate for electricians, or you know, a plumbing business, or like in my case, a consulting business, and it can fluctuate. But you got to have some idea of what the price is, because you're going to probably in your marketing strategy be talking about some of the pricing or some of the benefits of your business, your products and services as it relates to price. So what's the value of the product and service to your buyer? Are you established price points for products and services in your trade area? Is the customer price sensitive? Are your customers, are they price sensitive? Are you looking at providing discounts or providing, are you looking at a higher end customer base? Because you got a higher end product, and then how you develop your marketing around that and that higher end perception of the value of your products and service has because of the price points. Be aware that when setting a price, make sure it's a win-win situation for your business as well as the consumer. And that's a tough one because prices are changing all the time. And just like I know my husband has a picture framing business, and, you know, with the pandemic and then all of the supply chain challenges, he was having a hard time finding materials, and then pricing was going up because, you know, supply and demand 101. I'm sure we all remember that course in college, that it was tough to stay within the budget of his customer base. He had some contracts, so he had to keep those price points. So it's something that you're always going to be aware of. If you're a product-based businesses, typically, you know, there is like a recommendation of what you're going to either double the cost, and that's what the price is. But again, with services can be a little delicate. And then how will your price compare with your competitors? Again, that matrix, put down price so you can see how your prices are going to compare with your competitors. In my realm of business, it really depends on who my customer is. If it's going to be a small nonprofit, my sliding scale is lower. But if it's going to be submitting a proposal to a agency that I know has the budget because they've already said what their budget is, then I can slide that price point up. Process. This involves all the way that your company and its customers can engage in order to facilitate the product to reach the consumer. It's a map of how the company and its offers are accessible to the market. So think of it as a roadmap of your company's operations. Now you're saying, well, what does that have to do with marketing? Well, it actually has a lot to do with it, because you want to make sure that the process is like you're looking at where in the process or the roadmap are you going to then need to start to promote and market your products and services. If you are looking at bringing new products into the marketplace and you're just now getting them from your supply chain and you're just now bringing them into your business model, you may want to start to really do a big campaign on the introduction of the new products or the new services. We saw a lot of this in the pandemic because suddenly people that were able to go to a restaurant or go to a product-based business like a retailer, they could no longer just travel there. So then immediately businesses had to start to promote in their process. They had different ways to get to the product, whether it was curbside, online, delivery, all of those ways. So you kind of want to look at your processes and see how you're delivering the product to your customer, and then determine where in that line or where in that roadmap do we want to start to look at doing some promotion, doing some marketing. And we all, if you've watched this is just a GIF by from Creek, and I just love that show. It's because it's my process, and she's, trying to sell something and online with a bedspread behind her. And then physical evidence refers to everything your customer sees or experiences when interacting with your business, whether it's your products and services, your physical environment, digitally, your equipment, packing, branding, your staff. So this really reflects how your business is going to be positioned in the hearts and minds of your customers. And we kind of think about the physical evidence because all of this really is rolled into how you're going to be then branding your business. From the first time that folks hear about you, whether it is in a Facebook social media ad, or it's a referral from an existing customer, then they go and check out your website, and then it leads them to a phone call or a direct message to them physically coming to your place. All of those touch points, customers are experiencing it. So you want to just make sure that you've got them all kind of working together, and that one physical evidence or one place isn't falling short of what you're trying to really project through your marketing, the image of your business or your brand. And then finally, your people. Now, with that said, we've had a lot of challenges since the pandemic, and they're continuing to actually be ongoing because staffing power is hard to find for certain types of businesses, especially our frontline and businesses, whether it's in food service or hospitality or retail or even service-based businesses. And so your people are so critically important. One of your probably highest investments in your business is your staffing. And it is one of the areas that is often the place that really can make or break a relationship with your customers. So you want to think about your culture of your business, your employees, your management, your customer service, the employees you have in the store or your physical business, the delivery and service personnel, the sales executives. And all of this is rolled in and is making a lasting impression on your people. On your marketplace and your customers. And you can't just keep putting lots of money into marketing and pushing out social media ads or posts, and if there is a broken kink in how your people are interfacing with your customers. And that goes to you, the CEO or the owner of the business too. We are often, very committed to our business, but often we have downline staff that's helping really be the front of our business. So again, training, and then how are you really empowering them? And you don't build a business, you build people, and then people build the business. I love that from Zig Ziglar. I'm a fan of his from long ago. And yeah, that was kind of a motivational thing I wanted to throw in there. Okay, so the 7 Ps, probably like, okay, whatever, but just start to think about them in relationship to how you're putting your marketing plan together. So this is the why. These are why we're doing marketing, because of the place, the product, the process, the people, the price, and just kind of keep that like in your mind as you're putting together your marketing strategy. And you might want to make notes on pricing as you're thinking about it, or people as you're thinking about it. So the next area, so now we're going to switch to the who. And, I love this when I meet with clients and I'll say, well, who's your market? Well, it's everybody. Well, who's everybody? Well, everybody. Everybody wants my cookies, or everybody wants my products. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But how much money do you have in your marketing budget? Well, not very much. It's going to be mostly word of mouth. And it's like, okay, well, it's hard to really penetrate everybody in today's very competitive world with no marketing budget. And even worse, if you have a marketing budget, not being able to really fully be effective with it. Our resources in our business are very precious, and we want to always make sure that we're using them to the highest and most effective way with the most efficiency, right? So really thinking about your market. And this takes time, and often in a startup business, we will ask folks to go and really define them and bring in, how many are in your area? Who are they? What's the demographics? And really drill down so you can then determine from your pricing how many customers have to buy from you, your products or services, in order to generate the projected income or revenue that you want to generate. So with that said, this is kind of like backwards, but I didn't want to start with this. So this is exactly what marketing is. If there's your business plan, your marketing strategy is part of your business plan. It's how you attract the customers to purchase your products or services to generate income for your business, right? So a marketing plan really involves doing some research. Your plan has to be based on facts, not just, statements or assumptions that people either tell you or you think about. It really wants to be as fact-based as you can get it. And sometimes that is market research, going out and doing some qualitative market research where you're actually asking customers through a survey or in-person conversation to balance the quantifiable stats that we can pull down. You want to do a strength, weakness, opportunities, and comparative analysis of your promotional and advertising ideas. So you can write down all of your promotional and advertising ideas. And then you want to say, what are the strengths of these? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And then you want to describe your primary and secondary target markets. And I'm going to go into that deeper. And then, the fun part, how you're going to market and promote your products and services to each of your markets, the website, the networking, the direct mail, the door hangers, the going to have a storefront. I'm going to do some business to business. I'm going to sell wholesale and retail, all of those ways. And then I always say, and this is really true now, especially because we're very used to it now, double down on digital marketing and plan ahead for technology, whether that is looking at an app or it's looking at adding a new social media platform in your mix of marketing, updating your website so it can be an e-commerce shop, all of those things that, we as consumers have been really retrained, re-geared to think digital first and then storefront, whether it's Google My Business or Google Business Profile, and people are searching for you when they're traveling to your community, looking for a place to eat, or they're looking, a local person is looking for something to be delivered to their, for their lunch. So who's your primary and secondary market? And when we talk about primary, I always say, let me make sure I don't have notes on this, like the low-hanging fruit. Who are the ones that you just know are most likely going to purchase from you and really drive some revenue, to pay the bills? These are the folks that I know, I want my product, told me they'll do business with me, and it's in my trade area. So are those locals? Are you a local-based business? Are your low-hanging fruit mostly in your local region? Doesn't need to be just your county, but maybe surrounding counties. Is it more regional? Are you more Northern California-based? Or are you all business to business? Where are those other businesses to businesses located? My daughter has that roofing business in Nevada County, California, and her primary market are people in Nevada County and Placer County. And those are the two regions. And they don't go much further than that. There seems to be enough need for roofs in that local 2-county area. And then they may have a secondary market. Maybe they'll bump up into El Dorado County every once in a while, or over into I'm trying to think what else, Sacramento County. But again, because of the cost of doing business outside of where they're set up goes way up, that's less competitive for them. Many businesses that are located in, let's say, Weaverville along Main Street that have storefronts really depend on the local business during the slower times of the year, which is typically winter and spring for them. But then look at the secondary market coming in fall and summer. And those are either people coming up, traveling from Redding, coming up and traveling over to the coast, day trippers, as we call them. Maybe friends and family are coming up for the 4th of July parade. Maybe they have a second home in the area. Maybe they're tourists that are just coming up to, they're new to that part of California and they're traveling over to the coast. Or maybe they're businesses conducting business. A lot of, in rural California, there's a lot of business travel, a lot of consultants, a lot of engineers, a lot of, like with roads, Caltrans, there's a lot of different type of businesses that could become your secondary business or secondary market. What do you know about them? How often do they come through? How many might come through during your secondary season? Let's say, do you have a visitors bureau there? Are they counting how many cars are coming through? How many people stopped in the tourist center? You've got to try to figure out and get some numbers. Local are easier because you can get that from, what's your population? But secondary markets take a little bit more of creative market research to track. What's their purchasing behaviors? Types of products and services and features your customers buy or interested in. If you're a brand new business, it's going to be harder for you. You're going to need to talk to some of the other businesses. You're going to need to do a little bit deeper market research. You may need to ask and before you open your business and get a poll or a survey and try to figure out what other products and services are they looking for when they come through your area. And then what's the best way to communicate with them? What information do you have to reach them? You just have to do a deep dive into identifying the who. When we have clients come in and they're doing their business plan, and then we get into identifying the primary and secondary market, this is an area that sometimes we need you to go a little deeper. You'd say, oh, it's everybody that lives in, your city. Well, that's great. Are you figuring everybody, women and men and children, or how much of the competition has that taken part of that market? Have you figured out that you could capture 20% of the market, and that's what we're going to figure your numbers on? So you just really have to kind of really think about all of those areas and jot it down. Just start to brainstorm and then figure out what you don't have enough information about before you're ready to really start to develop your marketing strategy and invest your marketing budget. Here's some areas for primary and secondary markets. I kind of talked a little bit about, federal, state, city, and county websites often have some economic information on them. Over here, this is the Shasta County. This is from California, and this is all about the tourists. They're the visitors that are coming into Shasta County, and this is showing you some of their direct travel spending, that there is some absolutely going on. How much are you going to want to capture from that? Whether you're in a hotel or food service or arts and entertainment, this doesn't mean they're actually going to buy from you, but it's a starting point for you to then determine how much of that market you want to capture, and then developing your strategy or your tactics to reach your market. Economic development partners are often those often have great websites, and they're doing the studies that are tracking some of the economics of a region. Your trade or industry associations are often doing market research at a higher level and letting you know what's kind of the norm in the industry, what industries are growing, what trade areas are, trade associations will often do some surveys of customers and say, this is, the growing market. We see that this market will probably grow by 20%. It gives you an idea that then you're on track with thinking about going into that industry and there's a market there. And if you capture 1% of the new market, then you can use those for communicating and putting together your marketing strategy. Business associations, visitors and tourism sites, and then there's private sector sites. The private sector sites are expensive. They do deep dives, but often your economic development partners and your cities and towns will provide that information. They pay for those services and then upload it onto their websites. So now, I added this one because I often am, talking to my clients and say, what's your trade area? And when we're talking about a trade area, we're talking about specifically your primary market. How far out do you intend on penetrating the market with your products and services, with your promotion strategy? So are you thinking 10-mile radius? Are you thinking 40-mile radius? So these are circles. This is an old-fashioned way of doing it. You can just get a map, get a compass. They still make it, or just like put a dot there and then look out, measure out what would be using from the map, the scale. And you can see where you're going to be touching, what cities, what towns, and then you could go and see what their populations are. And now you're starting to get some quantifiable data. So this was Weaverville, and the 10-mile radius is the first one. And this is a simple ring, and it's the most simple trade area. It's based on distance from the center of your business district, right? And you draw a ring around it. And if you were to just say, okay, my trade area is going to be for my business, my primary market, I'm going to find from just 10 miles from Weaverville. Well, that's going to be pretty slim because there's probably about 3,000 people there or 4,000. So that's not very many people to draw from. So you're going okay, well, maybe I need to bump it out and do some marketing and really try to reach a little bit further. So if you go out 40 miles from center of Weaverville, then you can touch up into Mount Shasta. You can come down into Red Bluff, going into Redding. That's of course going out towards the east. If you go more towards the west, then you can touch the communities on the coast side. Now, with that said, there's also going to be more competition, right? The further you go out, the larger the population base, but then that means there might be more competition. So then you're going to want to kind of think about that. Who's competing in those areas? How much of the market do they have? Hard questions to answer, but if you're coming up with some numbers that within the 40-mile trade area, there's this population, and if I capture 10% of them and I then sell them this many products in a month, this is what my estimated revenue would be. That's a really good starting point. You can also then do drive time. Drive times use GIS, of course, and in some of those private sector reports, we'll do drive time because then it takes in account how long it takes to get to a place, not just the distance. And it will take in place the mountains, the rivers that you had to cross. So you can see a different kind of map. It'll show you the drive times. It could be a 5-minute drive time, a 10-minute drive time. How far are your customers willing to travel to come to your business? And then the third one is customer putting together your customers using addresses gathered by local businesses. If the business lists are not available, you can obtain a sample of customer addresses by holding a raffle, a drawing, or a newsletter. And this gets a little bit more complicated, but again, you may want to just go to a local event let's say you could then have a table and you're doing some market research and you want to find in the summer months where are most of the people coming for this certain event if they're not tracking it already. So that's an example. Whenever you're out and you're taking your product or service on the road, you always want to think about getting additional information about that market that you're trying to sell to. That's your primary market because you're just doing trade shows and vending. Then of course you're going to want to find out zip code. What else are they looking for? How often are they going to be purchasing that? You have a face-to-face with them, so you can have a little bit more qualifiable type of information. But if you're just vending at let's say a farmer's market and you're taking your cottage foods to it, still use that opportunity to get as much information about your customers who are at the event at the time you're actually talking to them. Really valuable. So I saw this when I was putting this together. I wanted to see what I could find that even gave you an idea of what mileage's derived times are. And this was put by the Department of Agriculture in, let's see, my bar is on here, Mississippi State University. And of course, this is in North Dakota, not even any place in California, but it gives you just an idea of what they put together. And these are some of the specific miles traveled for certain types of products. So, they'll go this place. One-way distance that residents travel to shop varied between 17 miles and 19 miles for convenience and specialty goods. So I thought this was just a good little snapshot of what I'm talking about. Of course, if your market's tourists or visitors, they'll drive, like my husband and I, we're going to be going to Idaho in the summer to our favorite fishing place, and we're driving miles and miles to get there. And so, but it's really small and there's not much there. But those people that are renting that cabin to us are really depending on, visitors coming from a long distance to come and stay and visit. And they may say, after they see in a year, majority of their people came from, let's say, when I leave, let's say they saw that majority of their folks came in the summer from Phoenix. 80% of their customers were renting cabins and 80% of them came from Phoenix. Where do you think they're going to do most of their marketing then? It's going to be where the customers came from. All right. Everybody with me? Yay. Now the fun part. How do we put this together? I just want to talk about website and social media. How do I promote? Lots of different ways. This is why we want you to dial in on who your target market is, what's your trade area, and then now we're going to align the array of marketing and promotional tactics that are out there. And there isn't one that's more effective than the other in terms of just in general. It's in terms of, is it going to reach your market? And is your messaging going to be enticing customers to come then and do business with you? So take an inventory of all the ways that you are intending or you already do distribute your products and services. Sorry, guys, I'm just seeing I've got a few voicemails here. List all of the channels that you're going to use to generate sales. There isn't just one way. If you think you're just going to open up a shop and you're going to just sell from your shop, then that's fine. List that. But if you're also going to be looking at taking it on the road and selling at some selective trade shows, you're also going to be incorporating an online shop. You're also going to be, selling wholesale to other businesses. You want to list all of those ways, because each of those ways that you're going to be distributing your products and services may be just a twist of your messaging and your marketing. And then inventory all of the ways you want to promote your business products and services. If you already are doing it, great. Just do a brain dump and think about every place that you've advertised in the last year or you've promoted your business. This is where I say track. It's the start of 2023. Start tracking how you're promoting and marketing your business. And it can be as simple as, oh yeah, I go to that breakfast every month for networking, or I've got that ad in that magazine, or I'm doing a social media campaign, or I'm going to be at that event. I mean, as a business owner, we get so busy that we forget some of the details and tracking. If you can at least write down at the end of each week and just put it in a little binder or a little notebook, every place that you promoted or marketed or gave away a business card, it would be incredibly helpful at the end of the month when you're re-looking at your next month, or 6 months. Let's say you do 6-month plans. So that could be your website, networking, social media, digital advertising, physical location, your fleet, your folks out in the field, your sponsorships at events, all the free things you give away. I love this. This is All Will Inc. And they have this great website, and it's got their phone number. They do appointments. You can view their services. You can request an appointment. Obviously, they may have a storefront. I don't know. I don't know this business. They may, but maybe they don't. It is an all-wheel truck and RV repair business, so I'm assuming that they have a physical location. But you can find everything you need to know on their website, because it's like a snapshot into their business. And folks are very, very, very trained to do research on a website. If you don't have one, you're not even considered to be in business. So you want to think about that as your gateway. All of this pulls together in branding your business. Of course, your name of your business, your image, your tagline, all real important, because that's kind of in the messaging, right? This is the water bar. They're up in Weaverville. She's been open a couple of years. And she has an Instagram, she has a physical, she has a website, she does Facebook, she does events. She's very, very actively involved, but it's all about this brand, the water bar, right? So the first one you want to really think about that's really important is your web presence, your website. And I like to tell folks that this is real estate you own. You get your URL, your www. Right? That gives you the ability to then put up your website on the internet. You still have to pay for a host. You got to pay for a host, have a hosting fee. But then you, unless you don't renew your domain name, you don't lose your website. It's not like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of the social media platforms where they can easily take down and for whatever reason. So you own the real estate of your website. And so you need to think through, and you can start small, start with 1 or 2 pages. You don't have to have a full-blown website right out of the gate. If you have the resources, and that's part of how you intend on doing majority of your business, and that's part of your strategy, great. Then you're going to want to really think about that website. You're going to want to do some research. You're going to want to think about your market. What are they going to want to see? How are they going to use my website? You might want to test run it across a few folks first before you make it live. But first thing is to get your URL, and then look at some of the different ways of starting to design it and getting it up onto the internet and live. The days of having somebody that was real expensive and they hosted it and I could never get to my website are gone. Now it's easy to, look at programs that use templates. You still may need someone to help you with some graphic design, some images. You want it to be quality. One thing about websites is that the bar is really moved up in terms of what people see as professional, right? So this is Straw House. They're up in Weaverville. They have 3 different I would say 4 different kind of parts of their business. They have their coffee that they sell wholesale out. They have a cafe right there as part of their physical location. They do lodging, and then they also do events. But you can book online, you have gift cards, retreats, they have everything on their homepage right there. Very well done, probably don't change that homepage a lot. So easy to navigate. You want to have a secure hosting platform. You want to have an obvious call to action. Here they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calls of action that are taking you, sucking you into their virtual storefront or event front or cafe front, and then whatever your interest is as a customer, it's easy to go there. They have it nice and blue. It's easy to find. Do they have their social media platform? This is the one thing I didn't think they had their social media icons listed. That you have to, maybe it's buried under the contact us. I don't find it very frustrating if I can't find a phone number and an address right on the homepage. And then, they have all their icons, whether they're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it is, right there, easy to click on. And this really should be kind of the hub or the gateway to your business and the hub for where all your other marketing comes from. Then social media platforms. I'm going to be doing another webinar in February on just social media platforms. So I'm not going to go into any of these in detail. These are your social media platforms, of course, are daily engagement. It's where folks, comment, where you're asking them to comment. You might be using it for some cost-effective advertising and brand awareness. You're pushing out some of your posts. Maybe you're an organization, you're going to be doing some big fundraisers, or you have a big community event coming up. You want to really populate that event by getting people interested in coming. So you're going to use it through this site. And then on your post on your social media, eventually everybody can go to your website to make reservations, or you're linking them to Eventbrite. So really, social media is about keeping people engaged and wanting them to like, share, or comment about something that you are posting. You want to integrate your brand. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. So I am like, pick 1 or 2 that really resonate with your market. Not necessarily you. And I'm saying this because I do not do TikTok. I don't even know it's TikTok, right? TikTok. But that's not my market. My market is primary federal and state agencies, city and county municipalities, and nonprofits. Not really the consumer base that TikTok is looking at reaching, whether they're younger generation or their fashion, design, things, entertainment, those kind of things. So get to know your audience, figure out where they're living online, what social media platforms do you think they're using, and then really build those up by doing 1 to 2 free, doing 3 to 4 posts or some kind of activity on them a week. And then you want to kind of create your social media personality. Use a guide if you have more than one person that's helping you with your social media platforms. What is the font, the style, the colors? I probably manage 6 different social media platforms for nonprofits and businesses. My personality there is coming out like how I write, right? But then I'm always thinking about that specific business and what is their style, and writing not in first person, those kind of things. And you want to think about 80% organic content you're generating, to about 20% of content you're sharing or you're repackaging. So social media, key, kind of the norm. You just have to find one that is really going to resonate with your market, and then figure out how to do it, and then just jump in and start. Email marketing. I am a big push on this. I think it is one of the key pieces for most businesses to start gathering emails, addresses, and then posting back on a monthly basis, whether you do a newsletter, whether you do a promotion, whether you do, like in this case, this was back in the pandemic. SBDC has a very robust, our Shasta-Cascade has been collecting emails, and they were pushing out information almost weekly, almost maybe every other day during the pandemic, of new resources and how to, really navigate what was going on. So email marketing, the thing is, you have to get the emails. And then you can look at different ways to use them, whether it's a third-party program like a MailChimp, Constant Contact, one of those that offer a lot of different opportunities. It's, those emails don't sit on your hard drive. They are like sitting in a program, like, you log in, only you can log in, or anybody else that you give the password to. And then you can segment those emails, you can develop templates, you can schedule all kinds of ways to use an email program. We don't promote one over the other. And we have a couple webinars on our YouTube channel that talks about the difference between some of the email programs for you to look into and maybe take at a regular basis. But you just want to start to think about getting those emails, and then what would I want to be sending back to my market? If you are in a place where your secondary market are visitors and tourists, and they have found you and they've walked into your restaurant or your retail shop or your gallery, get their emails and then send them one in, like at the end of the month, thanking them for stopping by. And here's what's coming up in the next quarter. Segment them as visitors, and then before your prime season starts, your visitor season starts, send an email out to them to remind them on their way through your area. Stop by, say hi. Here's a few new products we have, some of our services. We'd love to see you come back. Got to do it. So niche market, print and digital. So I always say, and I learned this from one of my attendees at a webinar, start with your business cards. It's the first place most of us go to really say we're in business, right? We get our name of our business, we get maybe a little graphic design for our logo, we got a tagline, get some business cards and take them with you. And the objective is to get rid of them. Hand them out when you're networking. It is definitely a traditional, small, easy, low cost niche market, right? And then think about if you're going to be doing some networking either through your trade association or the chamber or the business association, you're going to want to have some leave behinds, or you're going to be doing some cold calling, or you're going to be doing some direct mail. Maybe you're going to be sending something out on your website and you want to have a leave behind that people can download and print off. So you want to think about some kind of like printed piece. I say like a single piece that is maybe 8.5 by 11, cut in threes, can sit in a rack card really easy, front and back, quality, good image, talks about your services on the back, really effective for referrals, a leave behind if you're a service-based business and you're making calls. We don't see too much direct mail anymore. I see a little bit more of it here in the Phoenix market, but I don't know how they're getting my address. But, for leaving behind after you visit with the folks and in face, maybe you have it like my daughter's roofing business. She has it like right on the outside of her building, and she has to replace them every once in a while because it gets rained on. But, she has them right there. So if folks see her business, her storefront, but they stop and nobody's there, they can take one of the cards. So it's a good leave behind. And then you want to think about if you're going to invest in some actual print advertising, You're going to want to make sure it's niched to your market and to your industry. You may want to think about some synergy marketing or advertising, where maybe like in some of our smaller communities, the chamber or the downtown association will buy a page and then they sell spots around the paper to different businesses. Great way to leverage your resources. And most print publications now have added on with digital. And this is Enjoy Magazine. I know it's up in the Reading area, and they offer all kinds of print and digital opportunities. So you want to think about, is this publication going to be distributed in my area? Do they offer, like some of them will give you emails that click request? Do you have a specific URL that people can click on to then measure the impact? What's going to be the way you're going to measure the impact from it? Are you offering a discount? Is it a 2-for-1? Is it stop by and show this ad and get a complimentary dessert? Whatever. Lots of different ways to do it. Or is it just that you need brand awareness and you're new in the industry, you're new in the area, and you just want to be in that page that lists all the service-based businesses or all the contractors. So think about niche, and then also look for what they offer in digital. Leverage memberships. If you're going to join anything, you need to work the benefits. I'm a believer in joining some kind of trade association, just because it's a great way to network with your fellow businesses. Sometimes they're your competitors, sometimes they can be your partners, sometimes they're referrals, especially if you're business to business. And lots of different ones out there. This is the Anderson Chamber of Commerce, and these are some of the benefits you get. They have a greeters meeting every month. You can host one. They have digital business listings. You can do networking. I know some associations will give you some perks like, labels for all of the members. You can then send out emails or do a direct mail to your the members. Again, you want to choose a group that matters to you. You want to draft a plan and how you're going to implement that membership, and you want to incorporate that in your marketing strategy. And it's a good place to then maybe practice your elevator speech or pass out your, maybe you're just going to attend one of the mixers, and you're going to go and introduce yourself to the chamber, and you're a new member and you've got your business cards, and then you can get business cards from other businesses, and then you can follow up with calls. So really you want to think about the opportunities that come with joining anything, because there is a hard cost. Most associations are not free. So you want to think about that. If you're a franchise, you probably have a built-in type of franchise networking that is probably maybe even required. Some businesses will look at trade associations and attending the event or that conference. For me, for my downtown and economic revitalization piece of my practice, I attend virtual webinars. I attend in person when they're in my region. A conference where I can network and I can get education. I can kind of see who's new in the marketplace, and then I can work that membership, right? And then events, that leads us into events. And events can mean a lot of different things for your business. There's all kinds of events out there. There's trade shows, there's festivals, there's small events, there's community events, there's, chamber events, there's home expos, there's all kinds of things. So when you do your trade area, one of the things you might want to do is try to figure out what events are in my trade area that would make sense for me to maybe research and look at participating either as a vendor or a sponsor that's going to get in front of my market, front of my primary market. Events are very plentiful in most communities, especially up in smaller markets, because there's want something to do. Most places have weekly farmers markets. And if you're in that cottage foods industry, or you're an artist, you might want to look at participating there. If you're in the ag business, that may be an area that you might want to go to. So all of these benefits from participating. It can generate sales and cash flow, basic if you're selling. It can lead generation and build your email list. We all know about that. If you go to a home expo, you'll see a lot of service-based businesses. They have their products there, or their services. They're getting, trying to get leads, trying to get you to stop by their booth, give you they may have a raffle, they're getting cards, and then you have to follow up on them. It can cultivate new markets and customers. You can check out your competition. Maybe you're not going to participate, but you're going to attend it and see who you're competing with, because you're doing that competition analysis that I suggested. And then you can test new products and conduct research. All kinds of ways. Again, think about how it's nested in your overall marketing strategy. Again, don't spread yourself too thin. Maybe, events are going to be one of your primary marketing tactics. And so you're going to do one every other month. If you're an artist, you might want to be doing some of the monthly art walks. This is Sip, Shop, and Support Downtown Reading every Friday. I think it's first Fridays. And they have, vendor space. They have stores are open. And then the value you have when you're participating in an event like this is that the organization is doing, or the promoter is doing, all the work to get people there. But because you have a customer base, you want to let your customers know you're going to be there. So you want to send out an email and say, hey, you're in the area, I'm going to be here. Or you're going to put it on, a social media post, or you're going to do a social media event post, or you're going to put it right front up on your homepage on your website. So again, leveraging. Everything you do in marketing is about leveraging, right? All right, believe it or not, gosh, I'm so used to doing 1 hour webinars that I'm pulling into wrapping this up soon. So all in all, here is what you want to do when you think about fine-tuning your marketing strategy is you want to establish your goals for your marketing. Okay, so for 2023, what do you want to do with your marketing? You want to promote your reopened, or you have a new location, or you providing some new products or services, or you want to drive business to your new online shop. Whatever those 1 or 2 or 3 goals are, establish it. And then, identify your target consumer group, your target markets, inventory what you're already doing, or brainstorm what you think you might want to do, and then assess those tactics against your goals. What can you realistically do in a year or 18 months? I give you 18 months because a year goes by really fast. And you want to draft it. And you want to think about it in, some kind of form that works for you. I'm a very detailed planner. So that by nature, I wouldn't be in this field if I wasn't. And so my marketing plan is really detailed. I get down to the goal, what is the tactic, what am I going to do, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. I even get down into doing in months. So you just want to kind of figure that out. It takes a little bit of planning. And then you want to write it down, because you're going to pull that action plan out quarterly, and you're going to measure your return on your investment. You're going to say, okay, what was my return on that social media ad that I paid for, or that event I participated in? Did I see a bump in my email list that time? Did I get more emails? Did I see revenue? We're all about revenue, but sometimes a marketing strategy is more about building an email list or getting your brand awareness out there. And you're not going into it thinking you're going to generate a lot of cash from that specific tactic, but it's going to build on your marketing strategy so that then you can implement other things that are going to drive revenue. And whoosh, I think I am done, David. Did I not whip through that pretty fast?
That was really impressive, I have to admit.
I didn't bore anybody, I hope. I may have confused them to death.
No, it was great. Thank you, Lani. If you have any questions for Lani, put them in the chat. We have a few minutes, so happy to field whatever questions you have. I should put on my glasses so I can actually read them. Eric says, thanks, great information. So thank you, Eric, for joining us. Also, I put in the chat a link to a form, a survey. And if you have some time, we'd appreciate it if you'd just click on that link, tell us how we did. We've got thick skin, we can take it. And if you have any ideas for anything else you'd like to hear about, any other subjects that you'd be interested in having a webinar on, feel free to put them in on that as well. This is our contact information, and you need to get in touch with us. Just feel free to send an email to Emily, and she'll get you over to Lani or me or somebody else, and we're happy to help you with whatever we can. And again, don't hesitate to contact your local SBDC if you're not in Shasta or Trinity County. We will be sending a link to this recording to everybody who registered, and we'll also be emailing copies of the presentation. So.
Great. Did you have anything you wanted to add, David? Because I know you're a marketing king.
I am a marketing wizard.
Wizard, I like that.
No, the only thing I have to add is there was a professor of mathematics who asked his class, what's a polygon? And kid raised his hand and said a dead parrot.
Okay, we gotta love
That's
David's
all I got.
That's all you got. Well, I really appreciate you hosting it today, and thank you everyone who attended. And definitely sign up for the e-newsletter that is sent out from the SBDC, from Shasta-Cascade SBDC, as well as you can go on the website, because there's a whole lot of great webinars that are all no cost to you as individuals. So I would encourage you to use this valuable resource. I'm just the tip of the iceberg, boy. There's a lot that's way deeper than this. So thank you for the time, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.